I don't know about you, but I will be totally lost without baby wipes. Especially when I have those smearing type of bowel movements. You know the texture I'm talking about. The amount of effort that baby wipes take out of the equation is absolutely life-saving. I'm sure you have stories of your own, but even for my kids to use that moisturized, heavier, thicker material, rather than using toilet paper or paper towels, right? You gotta use layers of the tissue paper to make sure the contamination doesn't get on your fingers, because that paper can just rip apart so easily. But of course, that's not the only use for this product, right? I have a bag of baby wipes in every room of the house, in my office, and even in my car, because it's so gentle. It doesn't take the paint off or dyes off of clothing. You can use it to wipe your face. You can use it to wipe stains off the wall or clean up after you've made a mess on the table. Many times I find it preferable to using actual real detergents and like household cleaning products, because it seems to be gentler and I don't need to have that antibacterial power in it. And I want to use something that's a little bit cleaner, a bit gentler on our skin. But that leads us to today's question. Are baby wipes toxic? Do they harm us? Can they harm us? That's the question that I want to evaluate. Because when I saw myself using the number of baby wipes that I use, my hands, my bottom end, my face, because my face gets very oily, that stuff works amazing to take oil off skin, okay? Like super quickly. Even wiping my glasses. Are we harming ourselves by using this stuff so often as we do? And that's what I want to investigate today. Well, hello there. I'm Dr. Chung, and I'm your friendly proctologist here in Southern California in the US of A. Thank you for liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Let's grow together and let's learn from each other. Also, check out the information in the description box. There's info about consultations with me. Also, my sponsors' links are in there, and some helpful products and links to get you started in your path to health. So now let's break down baby wipes into its individual components. The first ingredient, of course, is the paper towel itself, or the wipe, the paper product. The next thing, of course, is water. Tons of water, right? That's what gives it its wet appearance. Number 3, we have surfactants. We need a cleaning agent or a soap or detergent, if you want to call it that, that's going to pick up the oil stuff and the dirt that's on our skin and surround it, pick it up, and not just smear it everywhere. It actually will put it inside its fibers and take it away from you. I've got a bag of baby wipes right here, and if you look at it, it looks pretty simple, doesn't it? Just a bunch of wet paper towels. But of course, that's just on the surface. There's a lot of technology, a lot of research and development, and engineering that goes into making up this product. And that's what can make one product very different from another. And I want to make this video to show you what you're buying, what to look out for, and what you may want to blame if you're having problems with the baby wipe itself. As we deepen our knowledge about baby wipes, the sponsors of our video today have done their research on natural ingredients to help with our hemorrhoid health. And that is Vessol here. It's composed of 4 all-natural ingredients which are born out of the papers and the research. They've done their homework and spent a lot of time coming up with this formula. So what's in here? Well, number 1, we have deosmin, we have collinsonia root, we have hesperidin, and we have horse chestnut in here. All of these have powerful anti-inflammatory ingredients supporting blood vessel wall strength, okay? We've got saggy hemorrhoids that need that tightening and firming up, and that's what this is exactly there to do. If you're having a hemorrhoid flare or you're trying to maintain your hemorrhoids, that's exactly what this formula was designed to take care of. Check them out at vessolhealth.com. Thank you very much, Vessol. The baby wipe is really two major components. You have the towel component or the paper product, and then also you have the solution that makes the whole product wet and watery. But in each of these categories, there may be a substance that your body may not be agreeing with. So experimenting with different manufacturers and looking at what things are made of or what's composed in it might be helpful for you to figure things out. So the paper product of these wipes can be made of different materials. They're usually non-woven, kind of like the gauze in the doctor's office or my office, or like dryer sheets. So you can kind of pull them apart if you put some tension on them. So let's first talk about the towel itself or the paper product. It's usually non-woven versus woven, and what that means is that if you were to take this and stretch it like a dryer sheet, it kind of just rips apart. And I think that's a really nice feature because it allows the fabric to stretch so that we don't get too rough on ourselves with it. But it's also very similar to the gauze that I use on my patients in my medical office. The fibers of this product are ranging from non-natural or synthetic, polyester or polypropylene, to natural type of fibers, right? We got plant products, rayon, bamboo, cotton, and even hemp can be used for baby wipes as well. Now, could some manufacturers be using a blend of all these ingredients? Yeah, you betcha. I mean, I've got a bag of my Costco branded baby wipes, which are really my favorite because they're so cheap. But now I'm not sure if I'm going to be continuing to use them after I did the research for this video. But regardless, I really don't know what's in it because I tried looking for what's the base material. And it just says it's from plant-based fibers. That's it. But that doesn't mean it's 100% plant-based. You may personally prefer natural fibers. You may personally prefer synthetic fibers, right? Do you wear polyester clothing? And some people's skin definitely acts up when there is a synthetic material on their skin. So if you know that, definitely make sure you look at the packaging or you look at the website to know what types of fibers are exactly in there. Of the ones that I mentioned, hemp is the one that is least common. It's very hard to find in the marketplace, and it's probably also very expensive. The reason being is it's very hard to grow these plants. There's not that many farmers, but the plant fibers themselves are very hard to process. They have this new process which I've been looking up online. It's called cottonizing, and they're trying to make the fibers so thin that that's how they soften it, and then they can make it into a fiber so you can weave one of these types of towels. But hemp seems like a great sustainable fabric that's an alternative to cotton and bamboo, and maybe can be something that may develop in the future. Now let's focus on the baby wipe wet solution. This is the other big part of the formula. Once they've got the paper product rolling down the line, what do they gotta do? They've gotta soak it in this wet stuff, and that's what's gonna allow us to wipe ourselves. Thankfully, water is 90 to 99% of the composition of the solution. Vast majority, which means the rest of it is where chemical engineers are racking their brains in the lab to figure out what to put in this thing. Because what are their objectives, right? What do we want out of wipes? First thing we want, it better dang clean up where we need it to clean up and the type of substances that are there, namely our poop. But I also use it for stains on my carpet, stains on the walls. But we need to, number one, clean up really well. What else we want to do? We want it to moisturize, right? We don't want to leave skin completely devoid or sucked out of the moisture. We want to maintain it or add to it back, because if we've got skin issues like irritation or wounds, hydration is going to be very important there. Another characteristic, of course, we want it to last a long time, right? These bags of baby wipes, you think they're clean? No way. They stay in our bathroom. We are doing the number 2, then immediately opening up the bag of wipes, right? How many of you guys, now be honest, go to the sink, wash your hands, and then go to the wipes? No one does. Why? Because it makes sense, because we're gonna be dirty. We're gonna be wiping up poop, right? What if that stuff like makes it through the fabric and therefore our fingers are now making contact with, I mean, I get a little bit OCD with this stuff because, you know, I have to be conscious of germs, but I don't wash my hands before I use the wipes. I'll use the wipes, dispose, then go wash my hands. So the next major category, in addition to the water, which is 90 to 99%, would be mild surfactants. And surfactant is a fancy word for a soap. This is going to be the detergent that's going to pick up the oil, surround that piece of oil, that chunk of oil, so that it doesn't land back on your skin again. Once you wipe it, it picks it up and brings it into itself. That way, the substance or the stain is now gone. One of the most common surfactants is cocoa glucoside. And this is because it's known to be extremely gentle on the skin and a very gentle cleaner, right? What is the difference between a gentle cleaner and a very aggressive cleaner? It's how much it can eat away into the surface, right? Sometimes you take off the surface of the paint and other products can leave the paint on. And when you got newborn baby skin, you want to leave that skin or that paint on, don't we? Now, another key ingredient that we need out of baby wipes is the hydrating or the moisturizing action. If you have a baby who's going number 1 or number 2 every 1 to 3 hours, think of how many times a day we are making contact with their skin with these wipes. We need their skin to be constantly healing all the trauma that we introduce to it. So the chemicals like glycerin, like aloe vera, like dimethicone, all these things are trying to form a barrier on top of the skin and keep the outside harsh things out and keep the water trapped into our skin. The last core necessary ingredient has probably the most risky types of chemicals in it, but we kind of need them really badly. But thankfully, there's options out there, and that is preservatives. We need this product to last. We need it to be able to withstand the dirtiness of what this product deals with. Right? I just referred to the thing about after you do number 2, do you wash your hands first, then touch your wipes? No, you go for the wipes first. So if your hands are all over this product, we don't want to find out the next day that fungus is growing in there. It smells bad. We need this product to last a very long time. We want to be able to use every single of the 100 wipes in there, and we need it to stay fresh. But like I said, this is where the major risk of the product comes into play, because skin allergies, irritation, if you have eczema, can you get a breakout of the rash? Or you have cancer-causing chemicals being produced from a reaction because of it. So things like phenoxyethanol, sodium benzoate. Now you've got much more scarier sounding chemicals, right? We're going to take a look at some of these so I can inform you of which ones they are. There's also some other extra categories that can be included in baby wipes, like fragrances. But I think most of us probably stay away from that stuff. I definitely do, because I feel like it might add risk to irritation of skin. pH buffers are also super common, like citric acid, and that's just to make the entire solution in the bag match our skin pH a lot better. And then there's also like plant therapy or plant oil therapy. Some people put calendula in it, or companies put calendula or chamomile, for example, in there. All right, so great. You now know the basic ingredients and the function of these baby wipe ingredients. But let's get to the sketchy stuff. Let's talk about the things you should know or look out for when you're looking at baby wipes. The main thing is the preservative category, because there are synthetic ones like chemicals, and then there's more natural substances that can function the same way, but they have their pros and cons. And I'm going to make mention of some major ones that you probably should look at. The first thing is sodium benzoate, which I mentioned earlier. Preservatives are super important, okay? This is what gives this product its shelf life, makes the bacteria stop growing or kill them, and the same thing with fungi, right? We need a product that is sanitary, especially if we're using it in the bathroom. The thing about sodium benzoate is that you've probably already consumed some of it. It's in our sodas, our food, our personal items, and our cosmetics. It's really all over the place. And there's a reason for it, because it's been shown to be safe in studies. And so as long as it is less than 0.1% by weight of the total product, it has been shown to be very low risk in creating allergic reactions or irritation. With this substance, there are three things we're concerned about. The first one being is that when you combine sodium benzoate with ascorbic acid, which is the same thing as vitamin C, you add in some heat or you add some light, it can actually convert chemically into benzene. Benzene is a carcinogen, pretty crazy. And so you've got to be careful when you have vitamin C ascorbic acid with this preservative, sodium benzoate. Maybe even avoid it altogether if you're really concerned about it. I know I'm going to be looking for it for sure. The second thing we get concerned about is skin irritation or contact dermatitis. A very small subset of people in the studies actually can develop this issue, which is why we believe it's safe for the general population. But it seems to also be a problem when people have open wounds or mucous membranes. So you have wet linings like the inside of your nose, your mouth, or your anus. Some people can get more irritation in those areas. The third item of concern is the link between sodium benzoate with artificial food dyes leading to hyperactivity in children, so like ADHD. The studies don't go into enough detail to say there's a causal effect to create ADHD in children. But if this is something that concerns you, then yeah, maybe avoiding sodium benzoate altogether may be right for you. Okay, so now that you heard that, sodium benzoate is complete trash now, isn't it? So what are some other natural alternatives? Well, some of them that are on the market currently, something like grape seed extract, potassium sorbate, hydrolyzed soy protein, and citric acid potassium sorbate. All of these items are actually ingredients of baby wipes on the market currently. And I'll give you some of the names. Things like water wipes, NatraCare, Pipette, Terra wipes. All of these are now on the market with these preservatives instead of sodium benzoate. So check these guys out if you want to try and buy them. Now, after I name drop all those brands, don't just go out there and buy it willy-nilly, right? Because we have to understand that preservatives have a tug of war, a double-sided edged sword, because we want the chemicals to create a nice, clean environment and have our wipes last longer, but we don't want to run the risk of irritating our skin. And some of these wipes also use alternate types of preservatives like benzalkonium chloride, which also can run the risk of skin irritation. So it really helps to know where your skin is on the sensitive spectrum and trying some of these products out. There's also an option of making your own wipes, of course, totally preservative free, right? You could take some cotton wipes, get some water and some hydrating agent like aloe vera. Maybe you want to put a little bit of oil on there too, like coconut oil. That's very, very popular for people using it for fissures and for hemorrhoids. Some calendula oil too, or maybe some Castile soap, because you need some of that surfactant to pick up the junk, right? The thing here is that without any preservatives at all, you're going to run the risk of this stuff getting dirty and stuff growing in your wipe formula. So you got to use the fridge, or you got to steam them, sterilize them so that they can last longer. And you kind of have to judge how convenient you want your wipes to be, because if you're grabbing them out of the freezer or the fridge, they're cold. And when you just did a number 2, you kind of want things to be warm and ready to go, don't we? Now, what are some other possible toxic ingredients that baby wipes can contain? Well, there's actually quite a few. So be on the lookout for these things. One is fragrances or perfumes. There's a lot of chemicals in there that they may not even list in the ingredients, and you may find yourself itching or having an allergic reaction. Phenoxyethanol, that's actually in the Costco wipes that I use, okay? I did not know this, but it can actually cause central nervous system effects in infants if it's in large enough amounts. So, for example, if you got a baby who's sucking on the wipe and babies are very, very small compared to adults, and they're sucking on it, they can potentially become toxic to their brain. Super, super scary. Another agent that used to be more popular in the past are parabens. This is a very well-known one because of their carcinogenic effects. It's been pretty much outlawed in the US and in the EU, but make sure you don't have something like methylparaben or propylparaben. Now, the next few chemicals I'm going to read off can be super toxic because they may release formaldehyde. They can cause irritation of baby skin or even allergic reactions. Things like sodium lauryl sulfate. Things like formaldehyde releasing agents like bronopol, DMDM, hydantoin. And there's also another one which is super hard to pronounce, but the short form is MI or MCI. You want me to try pronouncing this? It's like methyl isothiazolinone. Oh, that was pretty good. The other one, methylchloroisothiazolinone. Very, very synthetic sounding, isn't it? So from all the research and knowledge that we've gained, can baby wipes be toxic? Yes, they absolutely can. And of course, they may not kill us, but can they have side effects and create skin irritation in our bottom ends, especially if they're already itchy? What if they're making our issues worse? And that's what I wanted to look at today. The preservatives seem to be the major culprit here, but does your product have type of surfactant, a soap that's not nice to your skin? Or perhaps it has a fragrance or etc. I urge you to do your research and look at what you're using currently. Because if you're using it constantly and your skin is in constant contact with these chemicals, could that be adding to your risk? So I really hope you enjoyed the research and the new knowledge as I have. And let me give a shout out to the sponsor, which is Vessol. This is, by contrast, an extremely natural 4-ingredient formula recommended by Proctologist for hemorrhoid vessel support. They have ingredients which are flavonoids, which we're going to get into more of later on in the future, but these are powerful antioxidants which are completely natural and strengthen the walls of blood vessels to keep our hemorrhoids resistant from flares and also help things heal faster. It's a pill you take twice a day, once in the morning and once at night for the full effect. And this is useful especially when you have flares, but for daily maintenance as well. Definitely check them out on vessolhealth.com, and I wish you the best. Take care. Bye.